Hello out there, and welcome back to the American Patriots channel. Imagine the birth of a child. A newborn is so perfect and has all the potential in the world. They could become a teacher, an astronaut, or even a world leader. They have not as yet made any poor decisions nor strayed from the path of success. But along the way, they will make some mistakes, and they will make poor decisions. If they get too far off track, the best thing that they could do is to recall where they made a wrong turn and commit to return to the right path. It's no crime to make mistakes, but it's tragic to fall well short of one's potential. When our nation was created, it was much like that newborn, so perfect and with unlimited potential. But along the way, we have strayed and become lost. The way to get back on track is to look to those who know us better than anyone else, the creators of America. In effect, we need to return to the beginning, to the birthplace of our nation. Today, we will once again seek the words of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, John Adams, and others to gain insights into where we have made a wrong turn and to find out what needs to be done to get back on track. Today, we will focus on our political system and where it has failed us. Corrupt politicians. John Adams, second President of the United States, said this about the White House: "I pray heaven bestow the best of blessings on this house, and all that shall hereafter inhabit it. May none but honest and wise men ever rule under this roof." Honest and wise public servants. Is that an accurate description of politicians today? Many of you out there are snickering or even laughing out loud at such an outrageous question. So then, how would you describe politicians? Self-serving? How about dishonest? Greedy? Devious? Power-hungry? Or perhaps dirty rats? Is there such a thing as an honest politician, one who serves the people and not themselves? Well, I can name at least two: Abraham Lincoln, or Honest Abe as he was known, and Thomas Jefferson, our third president, who said, "I have the consolation of having added nothing to my private fortune during my public service, and of retiring with hands as clean as they are empty." You know what they say about used car salesmen and politicians. They're dishonest, so most politicians cannot be trusted. Is that a surprise? I suspect that you've known that all along, and James Madison confirmed it when he said, "The truth is that all men having power ought to be mistrusted." But here's the big question: do dishonest politicians cause any problems? According to John Adams, our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. He is telling us that we will be in a world of hurt if unscrupulous people run our government. Just look around you. What do you see? Many of the things that are harming our country today are being caused by corrupt politicians. In many ways, they are depriving us of our God-given rights to prosperity, equality, justice, safety, and ultimately our happiness. George Washington described it in this way: however political parties may now and then answer popular ends, they are likely in the course of time to become potent engines by which cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men will be enabled to subvert the power of the people and usurp for themselves the reins of government. The only way to restore our nation, to bring back the rights of all of its citizens, is to clean house and rid ourselves of this infestation of unscrupulous politicians. In the next few minutes, I will describe the harm that these people are doing, and the even greater harm that they are attempting to do. I am here today to expose the truth and to lead the way to heal our nation. Undue influence. Ben Franklin said, "The ordaining of laws in favor of one part of the nation to the prejudice and oppression of another is certainly the most erroneous and mistaken policy. These measures never fail to create great and violent jealousies by which the whole state is weakened." Wealthy individuals and corporations make big contributions to our elected officials and hire lobbyists to communicate how they want them to vote on legislation. In effect, this is money for votes and favors the rich over everyone else. It is a form of corruption that has degraded our fundamental right to equal protection and treatment under the law. Thomas Jefferson described it like this: "Experience declares that man is the only animal which devours his own kind, for I can apply no milder term to the prey of the rich upon the poor." We must eliminate the undue influence that rich and powerful men and corporations have on our government. Once again, quoting from Thomas Jefferson, "I hope that we shall crush in its birth the aristocracy of our moneyed corporations, which dare to challenge our government to a trial of strength and bid defiance to the equal rights of the citizens within our country." Political parties. In referring to political parties, George Washington said, "The alternate domination of one party over another, sharpened by the spirit of revenge, natural to party dissension, which in different ages and countries has perpetrated the most horrid enormities, is itself a frightful despotism." He is warning us that the political parties will divide our nation and fight each other to become dominant. You can clearly see that this is going on right now. If one does win out, it will take total control of our government and our lives. We would no longer be free. It happened in North Korea, it happened in China, and it happened in Russia. Could this happen here? What if I could show you that both the Democrats and the Republicans are so determined to take control that they are causing the deaths of tens of thousands of Americans just to gain votes? Very well then, here are 4 examples. The Democrats favor open borders in order to increase the Hispanic population and expand their voter base. Yet, they are fully aware that their open border policy is contributing to over 75,000 deaths per year from opioids that are smuggled across the Mexican border. The Republicans prevent almost any new gun control legislation from passing in order to gain the votes of gun owners. Yet there were over 44,000 deaths in America due to gun violence in 2021 alone. Due to the actions of some bad police officers against minorities, Democrats have reduced police forces to pander to the minority vote. As a result, murder rates are now at an all-time high in many major cities across the United States. 25 lives were lost due to the riots of 2020, and one was lost on January 6th. Who do you think is fanning the flames of unrest? It is the political parties, along with their media cohorts. They don't mind tearing our country apart and contributing to the loss of life as long as it furthers their cause. Beyond the efforts of the parties to gain votes without regard for the loss of human life, both have been busy violating our constitutional rights in other ways. For one, they have been tampering with voting laws. The Republicans are trying to discourage those who would vote against them by making it more difficult to vote. And the Democrats want to make it more difficult to detect voter fraud. Both parties have been gerrymandering, altering the boundaries of voting districts in order to gain a favorable outcome. And both parties have also been working to stack the Supreme Court with justices that empower their side. The Republicans, by blocking an Obama nominee and then adding 3 of their own during the Trump administration. And the Democrats, by looking into adding more than the 9 current justices. Stacking the court poses a serious threat to our freedom, and Thomas Jefferson warned us of this when he said, "Our government is now taking so steady a course as to show by what road it will pass to destruction, to wit, by consolidation first, and then corruption. The engine of consolidation will be the federal judiciary, the other 2 branches, the corrupting and corrupted instruments." In other words, the Supreme Court would use judicial mandates to draw more and more power to Washington, enabling Congress and the President to use this new power to shatter the Constitution and seize our liberty. We can now understand why John Adams said, "There is nothing which I dread so much as a division of the Republic into 2 great parties, each arranged under its leader and concerting measures in opposition to each other. This, in my humble apprehension, is to be dreaded as the greatest political evil under our Constitution." It's clear that our founders considered political parties to pose the greatest threat to our Constitution. We need to heed their stern warnings by disbanding these destructive, power-hungry parties. These are just a few examples of the harm that our government officials are causing. Due to corrupt politicians, undue influence from the rich and powerful, and the power struggle of the political parties to gain total control, our country is a shadow of its former self, an echo of the greatness that once was. Our democracy is facing a crisis. As Samuel Adams put it, if ever the time should come when vain and aspiring men shall possess the highest seats in government, our country will stand in need of its experienced patriots to prevent its ruin. This is a call to all patriotic Americans to stand against the tyranny of our government officials. Thomas Jefferson described the true ideals that our government should stand for when he said, "The equal rights of man and the happiness of every individual are now acknowledged to be the only legitimate objects of government." We must restore our government to legitimacy, rekindling the glorious flame of freedom and equality for all the world to see. Please join the American patriots, and together we will once again live in a nation that is the shining example of democracy that it was always meant to be.